the people that win debates just tend to be people that are very good at being a bitch and arguing. And in order to win debates, I've always felt like you kind of have to be a bitch back. And it's really, I understand because I call women fat whores a lot. You would think that would come naturally to me. But I don't know. I've always felt like if you ever checked out my demeanor, like, you know, I might say I am fatigued of black people, but I think people can sense in my heart, I don't have any hate towards black people. In fact, like half of the posse I showed up with was black or Dominican. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, half of the posse she showed up with. And now all of a sudden she doesn't have no towards black people. Listen, man, what's good, y'all? This is Uda on Go. Today we got a debate clip that's going viral right now, okay? Pearl, Just Pearly Things run into Ana Kasparian, and it does not go the way Pearl usually likes it to go. Because now here's the thing. Pearl has been real loud in other spaces, especially when she's on panels talking down on black people and black women, okay? With those tired-ass stereotypes. We understand that, right? We get this. Okay, cool. But now when it's time, okay, for her to sit across from somebody who's going to press her face to face, suddenly the energy changes. So I'm not even trying to be mean or nothing. You know what I mean? This is just what happened. Now, Pearl herself, she couldn't mute her opponent like how she mutes the people on her podcast. So they saying this is why she ended up muting herself, because she was pausing during the debate. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Listen, man, we're going to get into this debate. We are going to break it down. Salute to everybody. Make sure you subscribe to On Go. Be a part of the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bells and make sure you're notified when we drop a new content. It's craziness. Let's get into it.
Particular are discriminated against when it comes to hiring and educational attainment.
True.
The Duluth model is a model that law enforcement, courts, and counselors use automatically that assumes men are the aggressor. The tender years doctrine is a guideline in divorce used to justify removing the father from the child's life. The only institutional sexism that exists is institutional sexism that discriminates against men in favor of women. Furthermore, U.S. courts do not require receipts to show how that money is spent by the custodial parent, unless there's overwhelming evidence of starvation, malnutrition, or severe child abuse. There are numerous reports of custodial
You want the
parents
government to
money
check receipts and see, like,
let's let her respond to some of that.
Hold on, let's understand something. You want government to be so big that you literally have the government looking at receipts to see what a mother is spending the money on? That's insane.
I want no child support, no alimony, 50-50.
Yeah, because you're crazy and you don't live in reality.
I want equality. I'm more of a feminist than you, Anna. Because I say if you want to vote, be in selective service. Be on the front lines just like the men are.
Who do you think gives birth to and raises those soldiers?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because you assert that women shouldn't be allowed to vote because they're not all in mandatory military service.
I say be equal. You want to vote, do what the men do. Men are fined $125,000.
Should women be included in combat? Should women be included in combat?
Yes.
Okay.
Do what the men do.
Fair.
Do what the men do.
Yeah, fair. Agreed. Next. Nothing? Okay. I want to know what your ideal woman is, because if you are a...
Next? Nothing? Nothing? Okay.
Traditional conservative woman who's married, staying at home, raising kids, you trash them.
There's no such thing as a traditional woman. They cannot be traditional in 2025 because women will always have the leverage.
What does that mean? What does it mean that women will always have the leverage?
Women have child support to fall back on. Women have alimony. So automatically
10% of divorces end with alimony settlements.
And
10%.
And they go.
You just ignore the stats.
They
You
go
just move
from
on.
men to women. They go from men to women. Billions of dollars.
That sounds familiar. She just ignores the stat now because she made it a point to drop these stats when she was on Fatty Channel or these other channels in the other sectors, right? But then when she was in front of the lead attorney and he said, so do you know the stats of white men and how many of them are convicted or felons or anything? She never even knew the stats of her own kind of people. She never knew it. All she knew was a talking point to throw at black people so that she can weaponize that so she could go viral. Because when she stand aside or across from a person like Anna or anybody else that even look like her, this is what happened. She deflates. She crumbles. This is what's going on. Listen to when these people talk. Don't let them lie to you, man.
Every
I thought you
year,
said earlier that
billions
women
of
are paying
dollars of-
alimony.
Billions of dollars of wealth every year is transferred from men to women.
Mm-hmm. Based on what? Where are you getting that
family
information
court.
from? You're just making it up?
Look, we have it. We're excited. We can get it to you at the end. You didn't want to submit. Where are your sources?
She sound like she's unsure because all these people do is talk from talking points. When they get up there, they cannot explain them. You see it all the time on the internet. If you're on YouTube, if you see people on podcasts and you see people on panels, you see this happen all the time where a person will come up and make a point, talk about all these stats and statistics, but they cannot really break it down to you. Why? Because they really don't understand it. They really don't have the knowledge of it. They only watch videos. They only read a couple of things, and now they think they're professionals. Pearl is exposing her hand.
You didn't want to submit them ahead of time. You did.
The Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics. I cited everything I mentioned. Pull it up. Pearl, the main thing I want people to understand, okay, Pearl's gonna trash women no matter what. That's fine.
I'm not trashing
But
them.
my biggest gripe with you is you're discouraging people from entering marriages.
I don't tell men what to do. Sell me on.
You
okay,
advise
Anna,
men to avoid marriage.
Sell me on marriage. What do men get out of marriage?
That's sad. It's sad that people think.
Look at this. This woman only did this manosphere thing to get money, you know. Tell me, what do men get out of marriage? Woman, you're a woman. What do you get out of marriage? Because you ain't never been married. Nobody even want to marry you. So what did you get out of marriage? Obviously, this is why you so mad at marriage, because ain't nobody trying to marry.
Oh no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit.
I'm going to play
right
nice,
there.
man. We early in the video. I'm not going to cook her and say her ass look like Luke Walton. Walton on the damn LA Lakers.
Oh no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right
Ain't
there.
nobody trying to marry no goddamn Luke Walton. Shorty look like Luke Walton in the face. Let's get right then. Let's talk the things then. Early in the morning, let's talk the things. If y'all want to talk the things this morning, he look like Luke Walton. Don't let me bring up Luke Walton. I'm gonna show you a picture in a minute. Hit the poll, drop a like. We're gonna show you Luke Walton.
That it really is. You get a partner, you get a teammate, you get to build a life together, and it's beautiful. I feel like misery loves company in this situation. And how would you know what you get out of marriage if you haven't experienced marriage in the first place? I'm not saying that as a personal attack. I really hope that Pearl meets the love of her life and gets married. It's not about that. But you trash it without really understanding what the benefits are.
Why do we have phrases like it's cheaper to keep her?
Pearl,
answer the question.
Divorce is expensive. And by the way, on purpose, to discourage people from getting divorced in the first place.
Why do we have phrases like happy wife, happy life?
Because it's true. Same with happy husband, happy life. I don't want to come home to an angry husband.
But that's not a phrase.
Do you have any other like catchphrase or slogan you want to throw at me?
What do men get out of marriage?
They get a partner.
That gains 25 pounds in the first 5 years.
Men get pretty fat too. I don't know if you've done a comparative analysis on that. They actually end up gaining more weight than their wives do. And who cares?
Men.
I mean, have a conversation with your partner. Encourage her. Be an adult.
How can men and women be equal?
Especially if she's giving you
How can men
children.
and women be equal when one is expected to die for the other?
I don't expect anyone to die for anyone else. I don't know what that even comes
Yeah,
from.
but men are willing to die for you every day. The men in the police force, the men in the military.
What about the women in the police force?
They're 10% and they cause
So
many
what?
problems.
Who cares what percentage women make up of the police force?
Yeah,
They're in
but
the
they
police
can't-
force.
they
My
can't-
sister-in-law's a cop, actually.
They can't do the same jobs. There's videos on the
should
internet
see my
everywhere of
sister-in-law.
women getting their guns taken because they're not strong enough.
Are you just making things up? Pearl, what are you doing? Like, seriously. Next question.
Do you realize how good you have it in this country?
What was the long pause for? What was all of that for? She don't know nothing. These people have teleprompters talking in front of you. These people have notes on the side of them. They're talking about stats that's not even real stats, even when it came to people that look like you and me, if you're watching me right now. This is weirdo stuff. This is weirdo stuff. And even the white people I met don't even act like Pearl. So we're not going to say Pearl is like white people. No, 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 no. I got many of white friends that I know, and they nothing like Pearl. Let's not mix and mingle up the spices. They're nothing like Pearl. Pearl's fake as fuck. Let's get back to it.
Absolutely. Best country in the world.
And you get to live the life you live at the expense of men.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
Show me how.
Do you know how many men die every year? There are men that die every year to get you crab.
How many women die every year during childbirth?
Not many.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth, yes. This is painful, man. Do you have any other questions for me?
Not right now.
All right. Should I move on? Like, what are we doing now?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's just jump in here. So why don't we do this? I'll ask you one and then I'll ask you one and we'll kind of go back and forth. I kind of half jokingly said at the beginning, like Pearl had mentioned, I think you actually said it here too, that you believe you may be more of a feminist. Do you consider yourself to be a feminist, and how would you define that?
I don't consider myself to be a feminist, mainly because it's a loaded word and there are certain outcomes from certain waves of feminism that I don't agree with, particularly minimizing the importance of men in society. I do think that there is, especially the third wave of feminism that's done that. I personally really value masculine men, and I don't appreciate feminists speaking on behalf of all women in regard to what women prefer. I think the Me Too movement started off as a legitimate grievance with women who were legitimately abused, and it devolved into something laughable and ridiculous, especially when, someone like Aziz Ansari gets accused of being like some sort of sexual predator when he clearly wasn't. So I just don't like how loaded that word is. What I actually genuinely want is equality among the sexes. I'm not looking for women to have an upper hand over men at all. But we need to be based in reality, and we need to look at the statistics and figure out what's really going on. If men are getting a raw deal as a result of divorces, then yeah, the laws need to change. And I genuinely thought prior to this debate that they were getting the raw end of the deal. But as I researched this, I realized I was believing in outdated myths. So, yeah.
Pearl, let me ask you this. Do you believe and obviously you are citing a lot of anecdotal stories. I do think it's fair to point out every anecdotal story is someone's story, right? So they're not fake stories and they're not meaningless. Obviously, the people who live those realities, in a lot of cases, are very painful. Because of your platform, you speak to a lot of those people. How much is that informing where you're coming from in this debate? Is the real stories of people who have been hurt by this stuff?
I mean, I've interviewed 1,000 people. I interviewed a guy who had his kid transitioned and there was nothing he could do about it. I interviewed another guy and he spent $300,000 trying to get his kid back. He actually went overseas to Ukraine during the war, just trying to be in his kid's life. So yeah, it impacts it a lot.